Hey everyone, it's Lexie. So in today's video I'll be sharing with you the books that I am thankful for this year. So every year around American Thanksgiving I don't usually do this during Canadian Thanksgiving when we celebrate it, but usually kind of around this year, like this time of year, I like to look back at all the books that I've read over the course of this year and see which ones I'm kind of the most thankful for reading. And I think books are, again, especially kind of during the times we've kind of currently lived in, they provide a good distraction from what is going on in the outside world. So a lot of these books I'm just thankful for some of the distractions that they provided me, or just the experience that I had while reading them. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So starting out, I'm just going to start with the obvious one here, and if you guys have been watching my channel, you guys already know what I'm going to be saying, but it is the Inspector Gamache series by Louise. I kind of marathoned this series over the course of this year, and it has quickly, I can officially say that this is my favorite series of all time. I've never been so attached to a group of characters and like a fictional world like I have with this. And I think part of it too is, so this kind of series follows Inspector Gamache, who is head of the homicide department for Quebec, and a lot of his kind of murder mysteries involve a small town called Free Pines, which kind of has a unique cast of characters. And I think like what I really enjoy about this series is the feeling, it feels like home, and just the themes of found family are very much strong throughout, and kind of good versus evil, light versus dark themes are very much present in here. But this series feels like home, and I think like I really kind of got the momentum of reading this series last year over Christmas. And because we weren't able, like for the first time in my entire life, we weren't able to go back home to Canada to spend Christmas with our family for obvious reasons, but just that like homesickness and for being with my family, I feel like this series helped me a lot with kind of, it feels like home. It has some like Canadian culture tidbits in here that not a lot of people will know about, and I was able to find like happiness in that. And so I'll forever be thankful for the feelings and kind of how much this series has impacted my life, especially during a period in history that has been very hard for millions upon millions and like billions of people. So I was happy that I was able to find some escapism and happiness through this series, and especially like the newest one that came out earlier in September of this year dealt with the aftermath of COVID and of like the COVID-19 pandemic. And it was just interesting seeing this fictionalized world deal with the after effects of the pandemic, and also kind of the rhetoric that has come around with it. So I'm just happy that I found like this lifelong series that I will love forever, and like can go back and read and probably feel those same warm and fuzzy feelings that I had while reading it for the first time. This series is so much more than just your traditional crime series, and yeah, it is honestly amazing. Next up, this is a book that was actually sent to me by a subscriber, and I read this during Black History Month, and it is something that was such an educational read, and it is Stamped from the Beginning by Ibram x Kendi. And this is a very dense book. I broke this book down over kind of the course of the entire month, so I read like a chapter a day basically. But this kind of highlights the history of like the definitive history of racist ideas in America, starting for when first like America was colonized to where we are now. And this is such an important read, and I think it's a book that everyone needs to read in their lifetime. And so not only am I thankful that this book was also like gifted to me from a subscriber, but it also was a very eye-opening read for me, and it was honestly something like a book that will stick with me forever, just because like just seeing how these racist ideas have been passed down throughout the generations, and just seeing how interwoven it is into our fabric of our society. And for kind of like a white person, like I am aware of these things, but it made me kind of see, not only understand the history of it, but see some of the things that are subtly woven into our society I think is really important, and I think this is something that everyone needs to read in order to have, like, in order to be anti-racist. And so yes, this book was very difficult to get through just reading some of the stuff in here, but I think it is something that is very important. It is well researched, it is well written, it doesn't feel like you're reading a history book. He has a way of very much connecting to the reader and writing in a way that it's not dry or dull. He keeps you engaged the whole time, and I honestly learned so much while reading this. So yeah, I think this again is a book everyone needs to read at least once in their lifetime. Next, this is a book that I read for a book club with my lab mates and her friends, and I will say, just given by the just if I were to judge the book by the title, I don't think I would have picked it up because it is an interesting title, but I am definitely glad this was one that I read, and I loved discussing it with my friends. And it is The Girl with the Louding Voice by Abby DeRay, and this follows a girl named Aduni who is growing up, I always forget, is growing up in a rural Nigerian village, and she is kind of sold to this man as a bride when she is younger. And so what Aduni really wants in life is an education, and she thinks that a girl who has been given access to education will be able to find her louding voice. And Aduni hopes that when she has an education and finds her louding voice, she is going to stand up for those who don't have that voice. And so this book was honestly, like I said, it took me by surprise because, like I said, the title is a little bit different, but it was honestly such a tremendous read. And you can't help but root for Aduni and just rooting for her to, you know, achieve her dream. And so what is unique about this book too is that it's written from Aduni's perspective, and so it is in broken English. And I will say it does take a little bit to get used to that, but I think it really enhances the authenticity. Like, it kind of makes the story more authentic in your mind because it feels like Aduni is reading this to you or telling you this story, and just seeing her perseverance and just everything she's had to go through over her life was heartbreaking to see, but you just can't help rooting for her and wanting to achieve her dream of getting an education. So like I said, I'm very thankful for this book because it kind of stepped outside my comfort zone, trying something that I didn't think I necessarily would have liked. And it honestly is, again, another book that I think is really an important read and showcases, you know, women's rights and all these things. There's so many important themes in here, and I honestly cannot, you know, stress enough how amazing this book was. Next up, this is a book that came out in early January that me and my sister both read, and it is a very dense book, but it was a book that I nevertheless really enjoyed, and it is A Promised Land by Barack Obama. This is volume 1 in his kind of autobiography. So it covers his years kind of growing up, his Senate race, and then everything like in his presidency up until Osama bin Laden was assassinated. And I read this around the time there was that, let's just say, the incident in the Capitol, and just reading this, it made me realize I never want to be in politics whatsoever, but it was just like, man, we didn't realize how good we had it when he was president, and I just really loved getting to see kind of his perspective going through the whole thing. He has quite a lot to say, like how many pages? I know it's almost 800 pages, so this book is quite a tome, but it was just really interesting kind of hearing his story. I think both him and Michelle are just inspiring people, and I loved kind of getting his perspective on things and just like how he describes certain people in politics, like Mitch McConnell and like those type of people, or even Trump, I think is just like very spot on. So I really enjoyed this, and it was like, okay, this is what like democracy is supposed to look like and all this stuff. But yeah, this book did take a while to get through, but it was a very interesting read, and I think I will enjoy maybe his second volume a little bit more, just because I was older around that, like when those events were taking place, so I'm more like, I remember those events more than like some of the stuff from his early presidency. So I think I will enjoy this. But yeah, this book was really, really good. And lastly, the book that I have that I am also thankful for is A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. This is a book that me and my friend read for our book clubs, and we I think what is really it was kind of like a good bonding thing. So we've had this book club since virtual book club since October 2018, so we've been doing this for a long time, and I got her into Sarah J. Maas, so I think we always get excited when there's a new Sarah J. Maas book, and this one had a lot of stuff for us to discuss in this nearly 800 page book. But for me, what I'm thankful for is just kind of the socialization that this book gives me with my book club, and especially because me and my friend read through these books really fast. We are meeting every other day, which makes it just a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm just happy that these books have made me have this special connection with my friend, and just something that we've kept up with, because I haven't seen her in person since I graduated in April 2018. So I'm glad that we're still able to, have our friendship, and do these things together, even though we're kind of on opposite ends of the country. It makes it a lot of fun, and these books are just addicting. I'm not gonna lie, I understand the flaws in here, but I genuinely really love this trilogy and this extension trilogy. I genuinely really love it. So yeah, I just am thankful for not only the social aspects that this book provides me, but also how I just devour it, and it's like a guilty pleasure read. But yeah, I just can't wait for the next one coming, or her Crescent City one coming out in February. So it's gonna be a great time for reading in the new year. So that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what some of the books that you are thankful for this year and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.